Are you trying to raise your children differently from the way you were raised and not repeat the same mistakes that your parents did with you? If that is you and you fear passing down the scars, the things that you grew up to your children, today you are going to gain clarity about each one of the five childhood scars. You are going to identify yourself if you have one of those and how to prevent them from passing onto your children. After this video, you're going to have full awareness and clarity to raise secure children who won't have to heal from their childhood. Hello, my name is Marcela Collier. I'm a certified parenting coach and founder of HIC Parenting Education Agency. My team of coaches and I have served 14,151 parents break free from reactivity, break free to their parenting, and raise emotionally secure children. And one of the things we help them with is understanding their childhood pattern, how it's presenting at the moment towards their children, and how to break free from it so their children don't have to grow up with the scars they have. So if this kind of content is of interest to you, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Scar number one, the scar of rejection. The scar of rejection is one of the five childhood scars, and it is created for being dismissed, being unwanted, feeling unwanted, being dismissed, not taking care of consideration, feeling rejected. So now, as a parent, you have that fear of rejection. You have that fear of rejection. So would how would they show up? How would these scars show up in your parenting right now? So let's just say that your child is crying and they're wanting the older parent to console them. They want daddy to console them, or they want mommy to console them. And that stirs up this scar of rejection. You feel rejected the same way you felt growing up. And then you start this cycle of anxiety, feeling that you're not enough for your children, or feeling like that you're failing them in some way. Another way it may show up is that you may unconsciously dismiss or minimize your children, such as, that's not a big deal. I mean, it's just a broken banana. Come on. It's not a lot. It's not a big reason to cry. And then you catch yourself doing that. You're like, wait a second, am I dismissing my child? Or the reason for crying, the reason for having a moment, an emotional moment, may feel to you as annoying, as they're just crying over small things. This is the scar of rejection in you, because you were dismissed growing up, because you were not taken into consideration, because you were put to the side, because you were left out. Then unconsciously you're doing the same with your children. How do you prevent this from keep affecting your children? Basically by working on this. How? When your child prefers the older parent, for you to see it as their need to connect with the other one, and not that means that you are a target of rejection, if that makes sense. When your children have big feelings, to see their needs and feelings as they are, instead of, uh, come on, again, this is not a big deal. If you do feel annoyed by their feelings, to have like a communication with yourself and say, hey, is this really that my child is making a big deal out of a small thing, or is it me taking this personally and seeing these their feelings as a small thing because my feelings were seen as a small thing growing up? That will help you stay present and connected with your children. That's self-reflection. Scar number two, the scar of abandonment. You were left alone physically or emotionally. And these may show up as anxious connection towards your children. So these are the parents who leave their children, they take their children to daycare, and they have more separation anxiety than even their own children. Their children feed up on their anxiety, on the parents' anxiety, and then they get more anxious, right? Or this is the parent who is helicopter parent. They're trying to be in every aspect of their children's lives. Their children are already teenagers, young adults. They have their own independence, but the parent is still very hyperly involved in the child's life. It is the wound of abandonment. The hyper controlling parent, that was my grandmother. She didn't allow her children to be their authentic selves. She controlled every aspect of their life to the point that they became sneaky. My aunt, the oldest child, she became so sneaky that she started getting into unsafe behaviors, and then she became a teen mom. She became a teen mom because she did not feel open enough to discuss with her mother her relationships, her early romantic relationships, because the mom was so controlling. Was this the scar of abandonment? Yes. My grandmother, she lived abandonment, and it was forced one. Why? Because her parents died when she was a kid. So, of course, this scar of abandonment was created. And then she became really clingy and controlling, and everybody has to be by my hip with her own children. So if you do feel that anxious energy of I always need to control my child's every move, I have to be by their hip all the time, even if your children are smaller, if you struggle with allowing independence and allowing exploration, and you feel like if you're not right there next to them, they're going to fall, they're going to hurt themselves, they're going to not be good, then that could be your scar of abandonment. So how do you move from it? By allowing space, by allowing exploration, by allowing independence, and by managing your anxiety when you're allowing it. So let's go to the wound of humiliation. But before we go there, if you've been resignating to this, and if you've been falling into these toxic patterns and reactions, and you want to break free from it, then I have something that will help you. There is a free class that you can access on my website, hicparenting.com. hicparenting.com. I'm going to leave a card up here, or it's in the description below. And on this free class, I share with you my parenting with understanding system of needs to break free from all that anxiety and reactivity and toxic patterns, bring peace to your parenting, and raise secure children from the understanding of their needs. This class has been taken for 14,151 parents, and they started seeing results and feeling a lot more peaceful in just a few weeks. So to access this class, again, go to hicparenting.com, or it's in the description below, or it's a card up here, and the link is there, and you can start feeling a lot more peaceful in your parenting. The wound of humiliation. It's when you were humiliated, when you were ashamed, when you were targeted by your parents or other siblings. So I helped a mom who grew up with a sister that was like, she used to pick on her all the time and humiliate her. And almost I remember her telling me, my sister used to instigate me to do things to get me in trouble with my parents. Now that wound of humiliation is showing up in her own parenting, because she sees her brother as the Leo person who is instigating her to act in ways that she doesn't want to act. So when her daughter, who has anxiety, does things such as Leo tantrums, or not wanting to get in the car seat, or not wanting to enter a store, her lens of this scar, her lens of humiliation, this scar of humiliation, tells her that her daughter is doing that to instigate her, when in reality, her daughter is just struggling with her own anxiety, her own needs. So this mother broke free from reactivity and from reacting with yelling or with punishment towards her daughter. Once she understood this scar, once she was aware of what was the projection that she was doing from her childhood, and once she gained deep understanding of her daughter's needs. So let's move on to the next scar, the scar of betrayal. So the scar of the betrayal is when somebody broke your trust. Somebody did not follow through with their promises. Maybe you had a mother or a father who promised you things and they didn't follow through. They didn't show up. So it is hard for you to trust your children. It created so much distrust, not just in your children but in people in general. You don't trust, and you don't trust your children. You don't trust them when they tell you, "Mom, I'm going to," when you say, "Okay, it's time to turn the iPad off," and then your child tells you, "Okay, I need 5 minutes," and you don't trust that, and you keep pushing it for, "No, you have to give it to me right now because I know you're not going to give it to me." And then you create unconsciously this environment of lack of trust. You don't trust your children when they tell you they're gonna do things, or you are always checking. You almost become a Leo controlling, and it is not your fault. It is this scar of betrayal, because betrayal built up that wall of mistrust, and now it's showing up in your parenting. So my encouragement is to tap into trust. Trust in your children. When they tell you things, trust them and let them know, "Hey, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. I know that you will listen after 5 minutes. I know if you say you're going to turn that TV off in 5 minutes, you're going to do it. Let's set up the timer and I'm going to trust you. And I'm not going to bug you anymore because I know that you're going to do it." Believe it or not, when our children see us trusting them, they will listen a lot easier. When they see that we don't trust them, that we push it because we don't trust them, even if the 5 minutes come in, they won't listen because they know that there is mistrust in the first place. The last scar is the scar of injustice. This happened when you lived that kind of thing, when you felt like rules were too harsh, or you lived things that you were not prepared for. So when that happens, you create this shield around you called inflexibility. It is a shield of stiffness, emotional stiffness, that doesn't allow you to be flexible with your children. So this is a father who grew up in a very unfair environment, uh, and then now as an adult, he struggles to be flexible with his daughter. So when his daughter has, I don't know, let's just say that he has a rule. Let's just say the rule is that the screens are over at 7 p.m. But let's just say that it's the weekend, and then his daughter goes to sleep a little bit later. He's still very strict and he doesn't give in, even a little bit. And I'm not saying like to become permissive or to give in on everything. It's just the way to not pass this pattern of unflexibility or rigidity towards your children is to be a little more flexible, to give them more slack, to cut them slack. Is that the cut them a little more slack? If the screen time is over and they say, "Hey, I literally have 5 more minutes to end this world," let's just say they're playing video games, cut them slack. If you become really rigid and inflexible, then they're gonna think it's not fair, and that pattern of injustice is going to be perpetuated. So, do you see, when we are not aware of our own scars, we tend to repeat them in our kids unconsciously. And that's exactly what we help our coaching clients with in HIC parenting, to see those patterns and stop them from awareness, from the understanding of their needs and their children's needs. I'm very curious. What is your childhood scar? Let me know in the comments. What is your childhood scar? Let me know in the comments. And I want to tell you, you are a good parent. You can always get out of your pattern, and it only takes understanding of yourself and of your children's needs to raise secure children. I'll see you next time.